Hello! Welcome to this week's video. For this week, I'm going to do my wrap-up for the month of June. This is a look at the books that I read and enjoyed, read and DNF'd, and a look at what I'm reading now. So let's get started. We have some paperback, audio, and ebook. We'll start with the paperbacks, which is this one I DNF'd, which disappointed me. Because I love these sort of big epic saga type books, and it is a big mother. The Covenant by James A. Michener. Now, let me just say, to summarize my review for this one, Edward Rutherford does it better. This was, and I think this sort of James A. Michener does these types of books as well. Where it's sort of like multi-generational, historic, following sort of like the passage of time, certain key historic events, with throughout, along with like different characters. Now, with Edward Rutherford, I find he does that. He does like the historical events kind of thing, and you follow like the lines of like different families and like the descendants through like centuries. But he does it in such a way where like the characters are like the most important thing. Like his characters are rich and developed, and they actually have like lives within the historic events. With the Covenant, with James A. Michener, it started off great. Like when they started off with like the hunter-gatherer people, I really liked that first story. And then it was just info dump after info dump of like his history. And it's like, I love history, but if I wanted to read historical nonfiction, I would have picked up historical nonfiction. This was basically just historical nonfiction peppered with fictional characters as sort of like just placeholders. I found like there was nothing alive about the fictional characters. Like, with the exception of the first plot with the hunter-gatherers, they were the most interesting part. And after, like, a couple chapters into it, I was sort of like, these people are just here as sort of like eyes, to be like eyes to, like, historical events. They themselves have no actual depth or just complexity or just personality. So I didn't finish it. It was just huge amounts of info dump peppered with like fictional character placeholders, in my opinion. So James A. Michener did not work for me. Edward Rutherford does it better. Let's see if I can put this over there. Oh, the next one made me so sad. The next one was a disappointment. And I DNF'd it, which made me so sad because I love Leela Meacham. I love her book Roses. I love that book so much. So I was excited to read Titans by Leela Meacham, and I did not finish it because this book should be retitled Dear Nathan and Samantha, Everyone Who Raised You is Trash. It is about these twins who are born to this horrible woman who is seduced by this man Trevor, who, for all his, everybody sees him as like this villainous guy who seduced this girl. She says it was rape, but it wasn't rape. He seduced her and just didn't marry her. And so she got mad and went around claiming rape, which it was not rape. And so she wanted nothing to do with her children when she found out she was pregnant. So she decides to give them away, but her husband, she ends up getting married, and I think he like convinces her to keep one. And so she's like, fine, but then you have to decide which one we keep because I don't care. Lovely woman, right? So he ends up giving away the girl because, of course, and they keep the boy. And these two grow up in like different families, not knowing nothing about each other, knowing nothing about each other's existence. And the father, Leon, he's all right to Nathan. Like he raises him. He's a good father to him. The mother's a shrew who pretty much ignores him. And like why she even decided to keep, I think it was because Leon sort of convinced her to keep one. But she had like no interest. So once Nathan becomes of age, Trevor comes around, the actual father, and wants Nathan, wants to claim Nathan to come and live with him, because Trevor's mother, I think it was like Trevor's mother wanted him to like bring Nathan home and some sort of stuff like that. Samantha is raised on this ranch, and they had no other children. It's just, I guess it's because the mother couldn't have children or something, so they adopted Samantha. And they told her, I think when she was 12 or so, that she was adopted. So she knew. I think Nathan found out only when Trevor showed up that Leon wasn't his real father. But Samantha grows up and she is very much a people pleaser, and she wants to be like she has like a brilliant mind, and she wants to be a scientist at the same time. She wants to be a rancher because that's what her father wants, and she loves the land and yada yada. And so she has a chance to go to this university and pursue, I think it's anthropology or archaeology or something to do with dinosaurs, or some sort of, yeah. And but she turns them down because she wants to stay on the ranch and run the ranch with her father. Now, the whole time, she adores her father and all this, and she tells him that like she has no desire to go and find her real parents or whatever, because she's like, you're my real father, I love you, you're all that I need, you and mama. Fine. Then the doctor, I think, that delivered Nathan and Samantha sends a letter. I think it's because he's dying or something, and so like he doesn't want on his conscience the fact that he knows that that they're twin, that they have each other, that each other has a sibling that neither one knew about, and about like the whole like baby switch thing and baby split up thing. And so Samantha's father, Neil, gets this letter and decides to destroy it. And Samantha knows that something's up and sees that he's like ripped up this letter, and she manages to find out like who wrote the letter, and that it was like I think one of the hands accidentally lets it slip that it was the doctor that delivered her. And so then, because of like the way the father reacted in like ripping up the letter, Samantha decides that she wants to, it piques her curiosity, and she tells herself, it's not that like I don't care about like whoever gave me up or whatever. I just want to know like what this doctor has to say, and like, why was my father so freaked out and all this stuff. So she goes and tries to biological parents. The adoptive father Neil, finds out that she went to find out more about her biological parents, sees this as a huge betrayal, that she went and like wanted to know more, which I'm sorry, is her right. She's a grown-ass woman. I got so mad at her father. I spent the majority of the book going, I hope he dies. He made her feel awful. He like wouldn't talk to her, and was telling her, the guy that she loved, who they had grown up, her and Sloane had grown up together as sort of best friends, who became, started to have like more feelings for each other. But there was this other girl, and the girl was, he and Sloane were engaged, and just, it was just, the father was just like horrible to her. So she was like, oh, like like I'm sorry, forgive me, blah blah blah. And then it was fine. But like the whole time, she was like, felt like so guilty for trying to find out more about herself, which is her right. I was just disgusted by him, by the father. So Nathan agrees to go live with Trevor, and like sort of like see the company that he made, and like become a part of it. And he meets his grandmother, who's this wonderful, like spirited woman. And there's a young girl, a sister, Rebecca, who is mentally challenged. And there was a brother who died, who Trevor let his mother believe that he had killed his brother so he could have control of the company. Now, the truth was that the brother committed suicide. So, and the brother was the mother's favorite. Trevor was not the mother's favorite. The brother was. So, to protect his mother from believing that her son killed herself, Trevor let her believe that he killed his brother. So far, evil Trevor, not so evil. He's a bit remote and not really like a family sort of dude, but he loves his family in his way. He's sort of just reserved. And yes, he had made mistakes in the past, but so he goes to Leon to kind of like feel him out after, like after Nathan comes to live with Trevor in the big mansion, and help like run the company kind of thing. And kind of like, I'm trying to remember, sort of like if he wanted Nathan back, or if he wanted like how Millie was with Nathan. And sort of like just like feeling each other out kind of thing. And then I think there's this thing gets found on this like artifact gets found on the land, and the guy that works for what's his name, Teddy? Anyway, he finds it and he doesn't want to tell Samantha that like he promises her that he's going to tell the people because he thinks that he found oil. So, and he knows that if there's oil there, they're going to want to dig, and then he wants that because then he's going to be rich. And Samantha doesn't want that, because if that's like a burial ground with like artifacts and other stuff in it, she doesn't want it disturbed. So again, that's sort of her own needs conflicting with those of like her father. And it was just this whole like, there's one point where like Sloane takes the artifact from Teddy, and he's keeping it, I think, and he doesn't want to tell Samantha that he has it, so that she and her father, like, that their relationship doesn't get more frayed than it is, kind of thing. Like, he doesn't want to ruin Samantha's relationship with her father. So he does it for like a good reason, but the whole time he did it, I was like, oh, Samantha's gonna kill you. You tell her that you have this thing, because if she finds out another way, you guys are done. And like they're like, he's like dumped the superficial girl, and they're like on their way to get married, him and Samantha. And like there's the whole time there's this heavy burden of him having this artifact. And then there was this one time where Leon discovers like the whole like baby switch thing, or like baby split up thing, and goes to see Neil, Samantha's father, goes to see Leon, Nathan's father, and to sort of like feel him out. And each other knows that each other has the other child, but neither one says it. And Leon is sort of like thinking like, oh no, Samantha, like I can see you're a good father. Samantha is thinking this. He doesn't say it out loud, but he's thinking that like about Neil, that Samantha like was raised by a good family. So I'm not going to say anything to disrupt Samantha's life, because I can see that you know, she was raised by good people. And so what good would it do to disrupt her life, kind of thing. Neil sees sees Leon's disinterest in claiming Samantha as like he doesn't care, and he like is like looking down on him like, oh, I'm glad that like we have Samantha and you don't, because you don't care about, like they're thinking this. They don't say this to each other, but you as the reader, you can see what they're thinking. And it's like looking down on him and being like, oh, you don't care about Samantha, because if you did, then you would claim her, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not going to tell you that we have her, even though Leon already knows, but he doesn't know that. Neil doesn't know that. So Neil sees Leon not saying anything about Samantha as proof that he doesn't care, when the truth is the other way around. He does care and doesn't want Samantha's life disrupted. So that's why he doesn't say anything. This guy Neil just pissed me off so much. It was all about like what he wanted, never mind what his daughter wanted. at some point, even to make her father happy, he oh no, he decides that because the oil drilling thing brings Trevor and Nathan to where Samantha and her father live, because the land is there, so they come to like check it out. Neil is all like panicked, thinking that Nathan and Samantha are going to find out that they're brother and sister, and that Trevor's going to want to take Samantha away from him. And so he's like, no, 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 we're not going to drill here at all. We changed our minds. um, so then Samantha's all like, oh, like, thank you so much, Daddy, blah, blah, blah. And then, but then, like, the way she is, she loves her father so much that she's like, okay, if it will make you happy, then yes, I want you to be able to drill. Like, Samantha, like, willingly sacrifices her own happiness so much for this piece of shit father who, as we're reading, like, you're supposed to think, like, you know, he's a man of the land and he loves his land so much, and he says he loves his daughter so much that the fact that she could be interested in, like, looking for another family is such a betrayal to him and hurts him so much that, like, I hated this man. I hated Neil so much. And then, like, as it sort of went on, I hit the DNF point when the truth came out about Trevor's brother committing suicide, because Rebecca was there, the mentally challenged sister was there, and she gets freaked out during the storm, and then starts talking about how it was just like the storm when her uncle died, and so she like freaks out and goes to the ocean or the water or wherever it was that the brother died, and I think that's how like the mother finds out like what the brother did, that the brother didn't kill his own brother, that the son actually committed suicide. And during the storm, the mentally challenged daughter dies, and that's when I DNF'd. There was no reason. That was just a horrible, horrible thing to do. Leela Meacham, why? Why did you kill off Rebecca? That was so uncalled for. I mean, like, really? You killed off the mentally challenged girl? Really? The innocent, sweet girl you couldn't have, like, had the reveal happen some other way? That's when I DNF'd it. However, I wanted to see the reactions of, like, when stuff got revealed. When Nathan and Samantha found out that they were brother and sister, when Samantha found out that Sloane had kept the artifact, and just these big sort of like explosive secrets that were supposed to be revealed. And they were such letdowns. Like, there was no like big dramatic like thing of like when Nathan and Samantha found out that they were brother and sister. It was just like, okay, you're my brother, yay. You're my sister, yay. Like, we already felt close to each other, so no surprise. There was like no big hullabaloo over the fact that they were split up when they were babies. Samantha finding out that Sloane had kept the artifact from her, she's just sort of like sitting there and like, oh, well, I know that he didn't do it to deceive me. I know that he did it because like he loved me and wanted to protect me. They were just such huge letdowns. Just the reveals were just no. Just no. Yeah. So it was just Nathan and Samantha, everyone who raised you is trash. That's what this book should have been called. Titans by Leela Meacham. Just, it's just sad and just no. So Roses by Leela Meacham. That's the one that you have to read. The next will hit my, so those were my hard copy books. The next we will hit is Audible. Let me see. Excuse me. If I can get to my library. No, can I not? Let's see. One that I was listening to on Audible was over there, Scandals by Penny Jordan. And now I love Penny Jordan. I love her. I love her Harlequin Presents, and this was, I think, I don't think it was a Harlequin Presents. I think it was just a standalone. But I think Penny Jordan works best in paperback, in like actual like hard copy book, because I didn't finish Scandals by Penny Jordan. I couldn't, because the narrator just, for me, did not work for me. I mean, like, these are like it was set in the UK, and it was just, you know, one of those like glitzy, glamorous, melodramatic, typical like Penny Jordan novels. But the narrator had the, it sounded like a real British accent, but it was so like over the top, melodramatic kind of accent that just, it grated on me. I couldn't listen to it. It was unlistenable, if that's a word. It was too much. It was too heavy-handed with the, oh, darling, let me go and get you this of tea, and of course this, you know, person went and did this, and it was just such a, oh my God, I couldn't believe, like, it was thicker and heavier than that, more dramatic than that, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't listen to that for like how many hours it was going to be. So I think Penny Jordan works best on paper. So that was my ebook. Ouch. Let me see. I think Kindle is what I'm reading now, but I know that I finished one, and it was the one that I loved for this wrap up. The one book that I absolutely adored for this wrap up. Oh yeah, okay. So I tried Mercy by I tried Mercy by Lucian Bain, and I think this was the one where it was like the woman was the one who I'm trying to get to the about. Yeah. The guy was the one who like liked the pain, and I guess he was the submissive. And it just started off like with his best friend like beating the crap out of him, and it was too much. It was too much, and I don't know, like, if when it's the woman who's the dom, that doesn't do it for me. Like, no, that just my own personal preference. I like it when it's the guy who's the dom and the girl who is the submissive. So Mercy by Lucian Bain did not work for me. Let me see. Next was On His Terms. But oh, let me get that back. Yeah, On His Terms by Madison Quinn. And let me get the cover for that. Can I? Where are you? Yeah. On His Terms by Madison Quinn. And it's about this girl, or this woman, who was in an abusive marriage. And then she leaves, she runs away, I guess, from she gets away from the abusive husband and starts a new life, and is a secretary to this dude who is our hero. And he needs her to like pretend to be his, I think, fiance or his something for the company because reasons. And it was just the I found the first chapter or so of it's pretty much just her being abused and beaten for like the first chapter or the prologue. And it was too much. It was too much for, in my opinion, for like a romance novel. I don't know, it bothered me. And like I can understand, you know, you want to show like the realism of, you know, being a battered woman and, you know, the horror of that. But I just thought it was too much. And sort of like to go from that to where she is attracted to her boss and is supposed to like get into a relationship with him, and that, like, I don't know, like I found it really hard to make the jump from her being this horribly battered, abused woman to wanting to have any kind of sexual relationship with a man afterwards. I don't know, like, it's just me. I find that like hard to, one of my new favorite saying is one that my sister says, it's hard to square that circle. And it just I just didn't work for me. Maybe if like they hadn't made the abuse so like visceral and like just like on the page, like graphic, I could have sort of like made the leap. But it reminded me of that the other DNF that I did a while back, Dark Notes by Pam Godwin, where this girl is essentially being raped by everybody around her, and she's supposed to be sexually aroused and get into a sexual relationship with her music tutor. And I couldn't make that leap. Like, why would you want any man to touch you after what you're going through every day? So yeah, that it was sort of that kind of thing too. But the one that I did love, thank you, Lord, the one that I did love and did finish was, oh, get back here. Come here. Was Roseanne Bittner's Outlaw Hearts. Oh my God, I love Roseanne Bittner so much. At this point, I think she is an auto-buy author for me at this point, because I have her Thunder on the Plains in paperback, and and then like this one was like another winner for me. and I loved it so, so much. It's Jake and Miranda, and Jake is an outlaw, and Miranda is the woman that saves him. And their beautiful love story, and it's a romance, but at the same time, it's sort of like there's more. Like it's not just, it doesn't end with like the happily ever after between Jake and Miranda. It's, you follow them as they like get older and have children, and then they have a daughter and a son, and the son, Lloyd, who like worships his father, and Jake has spent all this time like trying to keep his outlaw past a secret, and like become a good man, and like leave the all like that violence behind him. But of course it comes back to bite him in the butt, and he's trying to keep this past a secret from his son, who idolizes and worships him. And then the secret comes out, and Lloyd, who is in love with the daughter of the man that Jake works for, Lloyd loses that love of his life because of Jake's past. Because Jake gets arrested, and it's so there's Jake and Miranda, and like their love story, and then the sort of like little subplot of Lloyd and Beth, who is the daughter of the guy that Jake works for, and the effect that Jake's past has on them and how it rips them apart. And it was just a beautiful story. I loved it so, so much. And apparently there's others in the series, which I'm not sure if like the others, if we get like more of Lloyd and Beth now, if we get like their story of like them sort of like getting back together, because that would be interesting. And just, it was just beautiful. I loved it. Roseanne Bittner's Outlaw Hearts. Cannot wait to read more from her and more in the series if there's more of those characters. Yeah. So that is what I read, and what I'm reading now in paperback. We have my nighttime read is an anthology. Excuse me. Let me reach for that. My nighttime read is an anthology, and it's erotic, the Mammoth Book of Erotic Romance and Domination. And it's stories for your darkest desires, and I'm enjoying them so far. Edited by Maxim Jakubowski. But yeah, so enjoying it so far. Almost finished, about like a little over halfway through. So that's what I'm reading in print. I'm very encouraged by this Audible audiobook that I am reading or listening to. It's Dirty Letters by V. Keeland and Penelope Ward. Loving it so far so much. It's about these two pen pals who they fall in love, and eventually like they meet, and it's wonderful so far. I love it so much. And on ebook, I am reading the controversial Asking for It by Lila Pace. Loving it so far. I'm about, yeah, I'm a little over halfway through, and it's about a woman who has a rape fantasy and wants to find someone to indulge in that rape fantasy with her, and it's so well done. Like, oh my god, it's so good. Yeah, not for the faint of heart. No, and it's sort of like I've already kind of dipped my toe into that with Jade West and her phenomenal book, Bait. So this one is sort of in like that similar vein. Um, yeah. So Lila Pace's Asking for It is what I'm reading in ebook right now. So hopefully I will have those finished for you for my July wrap up later um, in when I do that in August. So that's going to be it for this week's video. Let me know if you read any of these books. What are you reading right now? And whether you enjoyed any of the books I read, whether you didn't, whether you agree, whether you disagree. Yeah, so that's going to be it for this week's video. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/authorejamie. Like my Facebook page at facebook.com/authorejamie, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.